You are listening to Bernard Meltzer, the number one talk show personality on the number one talk network. Good evening. Welcome, friend.
Hello.
Welcome.
I was wanting to ask you about a career change. I'm currently in the military now. I'm going to be getting out here in the next two years.
What rank or grade?
I'm staff sergeant now, E6.
What's your specialty?
I'm in Hawk missile system repair.
In what?
Hawk missile system repair.
Okay, go ahead.
And I wanted to become an accountant, and I just wanted to see if the field would be open.
Accounting is wide open. Accounting is an excellent field. It pays well. There'll be a great demand for it 5 and 10 years, even more.
And
so the direct answer to the question you asked me is yes.
You don't know the price that a starting out accounting makes, do you?
With a bachelor's degree in accounting?
Yes.
Right now, if you had a bachelor's degree in accounting from a reputable and a good school, you probably would start out somewhere around between $25,000 and $30,000.
All right. Thank you. You answered my question.
Thank you. Let me remind you, the love that endures and makes life worth living is built on strong faith and unselfish giving. Good evening, my friend. You are listening to Talknet.
Hello, doctor.
Yes.
Yes, how are you?
Welcome.
I've got a question. I'm having a house built, and I won't go into all the specific details. We've had a lot of problems all along, contractual problems with the builder itself. Now, we've worked out most of them up to this point. Now, we're coming around the corner, and we're supposed to go to settlement on Friday.
Right.
Originally, we were until yesterday. And I'm putting in my own carpeting and my own appliances, which the builder is going to reimburse me for up to that point. But now I'm wondering, now he changed it. Now he said there was a problem with the survey situation and that we wouldn't be able to go to settlement until the end of the month.
What's the problem with survey?
Well, he's saying that it has to be surveyed, which is the mortgage company requires, okay?
Right.
Now, if that carpeting and those appliances are stolen from the house, okay, since I'm putting them in my own expense prior to settlement,
yep,
who would be liable?
If he lets you put it in, it's his property, keep in mind.
Yeah, that's my question.
It isn't your property, not yet.
Okay.
And therefore, if you install it with his permission, he has to guide it, and everything else.
Okay.
And if it comes out of there, or let's say that the lock wasn't right, or the window wasn't right, or whatever else is wrong, then he's responsible for those appliances.
Okay. And if the carpeting, now there's still some there's painting that has to be done. If I'm going to put double polyurethane, plastic over top of the carpet. But I'm saying we've had some real serious problems.
Let me tell you what you do, my friend.
This is my concern.
This is a new house.
Yes, sir.
Let me put on my builder's hat. Before closing, one day before closing, you go through the property with somebody who knows construction to make a punch list of everything that's wrong and everything that has to be done.
Yes.
If the numbers on the punch list are minor, then you have the builder sign and acknowledge he'll do the work within a certain amount of time. On the other hand, if they're major, talk it over with your attorney. Either the money is put in escrow or don't close.
Okay, because here's, in all honesty, Doctor, we've had some real serious problems, and I mean real serious.
That's par for the course when you're building.
Okay, but I'm honestly worried about the fact that he may, in some way, damage or even remove the items from the property.
That's why you need an inspection a day before you close. You understand? So get yourself somebody who, an architect or an engineer to go through with you. You'll pay them. But this is the only way to protect yourself against unfinished work and work that isn't right. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
Someone to talk to with something to share. Someone you know who will always be there. Tune in, turn on, talk.
Hey, good evening. Welcome here to Talknet. I am Bernard Meltzer, weekend host on Talknet. And thank you for joining me here tonight. I hope to make this night a pleasant night for you, the program that brings you information on subjects that range all the way from affairs of the pocketbook to affairs that touch the heart. A program of goodwill for all people of goodwill. You're welcome to pick up the phone and call me right now. It's toll-free coast to coast. Here it is. 1-800-223-4141. That's 1-800-223-4141. And I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. I call this the days of your years. Just think back. What day were you born on? Now then listen to this forecast. Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child is full of grace. Wednesday's child is never in woe. And Thursday's child very far will go. Friday's child is loving and giving. And Saturday's child is great needs for living. And Sunday's child is blessed, good, and wise. Good evening, friend. You're listening to Bernard Meltzer on Talknet.
Yes, Bernard Meltzer. I like to listen to your philosophy, your poetry or whatever.
Thank you.
I've got a question about mortgage companies.
What happened?
Okay, they sold my mortgage to my mortgage company, which I was pretty happy with. They're out of Denver. Sold my mortgage payment to another company. They're in New York.
Right.
Without telling me until after it was done.
They're allowed to do it.
They're allowed to do that.
Because read your document.
Yeah.
Read the mortgage.
Pardon?
Read the mortgage. You'll find they're allowed to sell it. They're allowed to sign it to anybody they want as many times as they want.
Well, it's pretty inconvenient and pretty, you can't get used to it because every couple of years they turn around and sell it to another mortgage company, you know.
That's done all the time now.
Yeah.
The old days, you went into the bank, you got a mortgage, and the mortgage stayed in the bank until it was paid off. No more. Nope, they're allowed to do it, and you can't stop them.
You can't stop them. You can't say, hey, sell it back to my old company.
Nope,
I was pretty happy with
do it. Cannot do it.
Yeah, well, I was pretty upset about it. I got another question for you. It won't take too long.
Go ahead.
I have some stocks that are in a family corporation, and it's unsolicited, which in other words, it's not on the market. And how do I find a buyer? Because if I turn around to the company or to my family corporation and say, yeah, I'd like to get out of this, and the family corporation, which I've already asked, they're going to offer me a lower price than what it's actually worth.
Well, of course, usually the bylaws of these corporations provide that if you go to sell, you have to first offer it to the family.
Right.
And then, of course, you have a right to offer it to outsiders.
Right.
And that's very hard in a family-held corporation.
Because the amount of stock that I got is not a majority.
What percentage is it?
Oh, I think I have 470 shares, and I think there might be a couple of thousand shares in the whole corporation.
So therefore, you owe less than 10% even.
Yes.
I would say you'll find it's very difficult to sell to outside, unless it's a very profitable corporation, is it?
Yes, it is. Each share is worth about $240.
Well, in that case, offer it through your banker. See what happens.
Uh-huh.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. One of the miracles of life is that we usually find that love itself is love's reward. Good evening, friend. You're talking to Bernard Meltzer on Talknet.
Yes, I have a question, Bernard, about a utility company.
What's that?
They shut my electric off Friday because my mother moved in with me. My father went to California for work, and they owed an $800 electric bill. Well,
Right.
She's been with me about, 2 months now, and they came out Friday and shut my electric off and said that I had to pay the bill, even though that, it's not even in the same name.
No, wait a while. Let's start out. In whose name is the meter?
It's in mine.
It's in your name.
Yes.
Now, why? Therefore, you owe the money.
Yes. No. My bill's paid and everything, up to date.
Well, whose bill is not paid?
My father's.
Is the meter in his name?
No.
Whose name is it?
It's the meter is in my name.
Therefore, you're responsible.
I'm responsible for my apartment.
You are responsible for that meter if it's in your name.
Right. And they lived in another home, and they shut the electric off here because they owed an $800 bill from a house that they had lost.
So therefore, you're telling me the meter was not in your name.
No, the meter is in my name.
The one they shut off?
Yes, And they shut it off, and I'm not arrears in my bill, and they said that they're going to...
I don't understand. The meter, the bill that's in arrears is in whose name is it?
Is in my father's name.
Well, I've been asking you that 4 times already.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, they have no right to shut off your electric.
Well, I'm sitting here in the dark. And
in that case, you get over there tomorrow morning, the first thing, either they turn it on or start a lawsuit against them.
I can...
They're not immune.
I threatened a lawsuit, and they said...
Not only that, but also go to public utility. What state are you calling from?
Texas. Houston, Texas.
You call a public utility commission out there. They're not allowed to do this.
Well,
in other words, they acted arbitrarily. Do you know an attorney?
Yes, I know one.
Tomorrow morning, your attorney should call, and either they put the electric back on, because they have no right to shut it off. It was your father's name.
Well,
you are not responsible for your father's bill.
Well, they say because my mother's living with me.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, okay.
That's baloney.
Okay, well, thank you
They're
very much.
They're shoving you around. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. Welcome here to Talknet. I'm Bernard Meltzer.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Dr. Bernard.
Yes, my friend.
My name's Joan, and I'm calling from I don't know where I'm calling to, but I'm from the Washington, D.C. area here.
Right.
And where am I calling to at? Is this Portland area?
Right now?
No, I mean, where is the station at?
You're talking to Bernard Meltzer.
Yeah.
This is not a station. This is a network.
Oh, a network, yeah.
We originate out of New York.
Well, my question is, I want to move to California. I've been in Portland. I'm here with my mother in Washington, D.C. area. I've been in Portland, Oregon for 2 years, and I can't seem to get the work I want over there.
So therefore, why don't you move? Why don't you move?
Well, I'd have to use some of my savings. I've been saving up some money, and I've been working part-time. I'm trying to finish up unfinished business in Portland, and I have a male friend who wants me to move down to Sacramento. And I don't know him too well, but the thing is, he says he has a job for me there. But the thing is, I feel that if he wants me to move, he can help pay some of my rent and stuff. Do you think you should be able to do that, or would that be right?
Well, that's a personal relationship.
I understand, but
what kind of work do you do?
From that perspective, you know.
What kind of work do you do?
And my job opportunity is in California for clerical work. I like to work for the state of California or something, but I may not get it right.
What kind of work do you do now?
Well, I've been doing telephone work, and I can do live-in housekeeping work and different things while I'm waiting for a better job, you know.
And you want to move to California?
Yes, I want to
move. So pick yourself up and go to California. Nobody will stop you at the state line.
I know. I don't mean that, but it takes... I have a bunch of stuff, and I have an apartment in Portland, and I don't have no car to move, and I checked to see how much it costs to move the stuff that I had, about over $300. And see if I got down there in that particular... I just want to know where the job possibilities in Sacramento. Are they good?
They're not bad.
Oh, they're not bad. How are you familiar with what's in Portland? Portland doesn't seem to be too good to me. I mean, I know that
you'll find that if Portland's not too good to you, Sacramento will not be too good to you.
No, I mean,
there's an old saying: your troubles move with you, honey.
Job opportunities have not been too good. That's what I'm saying. You know.
I can't give you an answer whether you want to move to California or not. I don't know. I don't know you well enough, and I don't know your boyfriend well enough. But I'm saying California is a good place to live. Thanks. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
And now it's time to return to more of your telephone calls and discussion with your host, Bernard Meltzer, on 980 AM WRC.
Yes, our toll-free number is 1-800-223-4141. My friend, welcome to the program that brings you human interest, drama, entertainment, and variety. Good evening, friend. I'm Bernard Meltzer. Welcome.
Evening, Dr. Meltzer. I'm calling from Massachusetts.
Welcome, Mass.
And I've been listening to you for a couple of years now, and I think you do a lot of good for a lot of people.
Thank you.
This evening I have a problem to talk about.
What's that?
I called a roofing contractor for some minor repairs, and they showed up the first day to look at the job. They left after about an hour. The second day they arrived and promptly ran out of material and left after about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then they said they came back a third day, and I never even saw them. Now, next, they're charging me $34 an hour, and there's one roofer and one helper. And they're charging me the same rate for the helper as the roofer. And also, should they get paid for travel time?
Now, in other words, you first of all, what kind of roof do you have?
It's a slate roof.
It is a slate roof. You see, slate roofs are very hard to repair. That's why.
Well,
number two, you have nothing in writing, do you?
No.
And therefore, they've got you over a barrel. You see, when it comes to the mechanic vis-a-vis the homeowner, and there's nothing in writing, the mechanic is always in a much better shape. Much better shape. Because the experience is when they take you to court, the court's attitude is they did the work, pay them.
Okay, well, actually, they did very little work. They didn't do all the work that I asked for, and the roof's still leaking in some places.
Well, basically, the doctrine is if you hire somebody to repair a roof leak, you don't owe them any money until the leak is taken care of. But you're in a very curious position. You did something you should not have done. You have nothing in writing.
Yes.
And they've got you over a barrel because they can allege a lot of hours that you cannot disprove.
Well, except I know when they arrived and when they left.
Yes, but you see, but here's what you're up against. Let's say it goes to small claims court.
Yes.
You get up and say, I certify, Your Honor, that they worked no more than 10 hours. And they get up and say, what do you mean 10 hours? We worked 14 hours. We worked 20 hours. We worked 2 hours on Thursday, 4 hours on Friday, and so on. They usually will win because they'll bring in a little book, a workbook showing they showed up at 10 o'clock and left at 12, and so on. I'm telling you, they've got you at your mercy.
Well, I know what time they arrived and what time they left on 2 days, you see. And they're saying...
Suppose you say they arrived at 10 and left at 12, and they say we arrived at 9 and left at 1.
Yes.
And the judge says, how do you know? He opens up a little book and says, look, here's our workbook. I'm telling you, this is what contractors do.
Well, I can open up my little book.
But I tell you one thing, the court's sympathy will probably be with the mechanic.
All right. Now, another item, they're charging me $6.25 for caulking, and they buy it for $2.69. And then at the end of the bill, they're adding 10% for profit and handling. So they're adding up the caulking, they're more than doubling it, then they're adding 10% for profit.
Well, how about overhead? See, they don't know how to bill.
Yeah.
The court will recognize profit and overhead. So you're saying what, the bill is too high?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
How much are they charging you?
Well, the total bill is $840. And
what are you willing to pay them?
Half, just to get rid of them.
So why don't you offer them half?
Well, I'm going to do that, but I wanted to talk with you first.
But I'll tell you one thing. If they probably will take half because they don't want to go into court. They don't want to get in a hassle. And usually mechanics stay away from this.
Yes.
However, if they do take you to small claims court, they are at advantage. That's what I want to tell you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Nice to talk with you.
Thank you. Humility. One of the most unusual characteristics possessed by human beings. Let me tell you why. Because the moment you boast that you've acquired humility is the very moment that you've lost it. Good evening, friend. You're Talknet. Welcome aboard.
Hello?
Welcome.
Dr. Bernard?
Yes, friend.
Nice show.
Thank you.
I have a little problem. A small pile of snow was left where I enter my rented garage.
What? Say it again?
A small pile of snow was left on the driveway where I enter my garage.
Yeah.
Although the driveway was cleaned off.
Who left it?
The people who clear off the driveway.
In other words, you have people who come in when it snows to clear off the driveway.
Right. I don't. I'm in a rented apartment.
And somebody clears off the drive. This is an apartment house.
And yes, and I have the first entrance.
And what happened? They left a pile of snow.
Just a little pile by the one end, the first entrance, which is mine.
Right.
And when I turned in, I scraped my car and it, scraped off the side slightly.
In other words, you scraped your car against a pile of snow?
Against the garage because I slid on the pile of snow.
Oh, I see. Go ahead.
And can I ask the landlord to pay this?
I don't think so.
I cannot.
No, because your driving is what caused the accident. The landlord had nothing to do with it.
Okay, one other thing. This landlord, every time somebody takes him to small claims court, he takes the case out of small claims court and puts it in a regular court.
That is right. He can do it.
Pardon me?
He can do it. He can appeal it. That's correct.
How do we keep it in small claims court?
Get an attorney to fight to keep it in small claims court.
Well, that's why I'm putting it in there, so I don't have to get an attorney.
Yeah, but he has an attorney. In other words, he has an attorney that knows the technicalities of the law a lot better than you do.
Exactly.
And he's taking advantage of it.
Right.
And this is the American system.
You mean there's no way I can keep it in small claims court?
Not if his attorney has the skill to take it out and the judge agrees.
Well, can I request a judge who won't agree?
No. You need an attorney who'll fight the other attorney.
Well, I'm trying to keep it in small claims court so I don't have to go through an attorney.
But you've been losing all along, haven't you?
Yes, everybody in this building is lost.
So therefore you change your tactics.
What do I do?
Get an attorney.
Well, we can't afford an attorney.
So we're going around in circles.
Well, that's what I mean. You keep mentioning small claims court.
In many states, my good friend,
Uh-huh.
a skillful attorney can show to the judge that that's the kind of case that is not in the jurisdiction of small claims court.
So the small claims court is just a lot of baloney.
No, I'm not saying it's a lot of baloney. The attorneys are a lot of baloney.
Well, that may be true.
And therefore, they're working around you. Sweetheart.
Well, there is no such thing as small claims court, then, for anybody who has...
No, there is no such thing as small claims court, but the technicalities of the law are what determines whether it's a small claims court or the Supreme Court. And attorneys and judges take advantage of the technicalities of the law against lay people like yourself. That's all I can tell you. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
I'm Evan Haining with you Saturday mornings from 5 until 9. Now back to Dr. Bernard Meltzer on 980 WRC.
My friend, welcome to the program that brings you human interest, drama, entertainment, and variety. And our phone number, coast to coast, toll free, 1-800-223-4141. Good evening, you're Bernard Meltzer on Talknet.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. I try to listen to you every evening, and I enjoy you a lot.
You can't listen to me every evening. I'm not on every evening.
Every night I turn this thing on, and you're on.
No, I'm not. I'm only on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, well, I enjoy you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, tell me something about Jenny Mays, please, sir. I used to hear you talk about them, I think.
Well, Jenny Mays is a form. What they are is they are certificates backed by a mortgage pool.
All right.
Okay?
Okay, now let me tell you. I have all my money in.
In Jenny Mays?
Yes, sir.
When did you put it in?
82.
How are you doing?
I just, I feel like I went from about $150,000 to about $180,000 on the money outside of my IRA and then inside of my IRA.
In other words, you put it away how many years ago?
82.
That's 5 years ago.
Done with it.
And how much money did you put away?
$150,000.
And now today it's up to what, 180?
Yes, sir.
Which is not too much growth in 5 years.
Uh-huh.
In other words, the growth is only about 20% in 5 years or 4% a year, which is very little.
Well, no. I've used the money to live on that outside of to supplement.
In other words, you've taken out interest.
Sir?
You've taken out interest.
Uh-huh.
All right. Your question is what then, my friend?
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your question is what?
But, say again, sir?
See, what question are you asking?
Oh, no, I'm just asking if it's a good place for me to keep it or just do it like I'm doing it or what.
How old are you?
I'm 61.
Well, Ginny Mae, you are foolish to put all your eggs in one basket.
All right.
That's where you are very, very foolish.
Uh-huh.
And number two, Ginny Maes are a good investment, but they not should occupy 100% of your portfolio. You paid the price of admission to stay in, and stay in. But very slowly, you're now reached the age where you should getting into so-called risk-free investments, and Ginny Maes are not risk-free. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. I welcome you to Talknet.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay.
I listen to you every weekend also.
Good. But you don't listen to me every weeknight, because if you do, you're listening to a phantom.
Pardon?
I say if you're listening to me on weeknights, you're listening to a phantom.
Only on Saturdays and Sundays.
Now I like that.
They have another man on during the week. I don't know.
Do they have another man on? What's his name? Do you know?
I don't know his name, but he's on during the week, and then you on the weekend.
Is he a nice man?
Yeah, he seems to be very knowledgeable also.
Right.
Okay. I was calling to find out about a renter's right.
Yeah.
I live in Louisiana.
What do you want to know?
Okay. The lady who I rent from, she wrote me a letter informing me that after this month that I would have to pay her $5 for every day that my rent was late. But I don't have a lease.
In other words, you have no lease, but you have an oral lease.
Yeah, oral lease, yeah.
And therefore, you have what is called a 30-day oral lease. And she's saying to you, for every day that you're late, what's your rent? How much is the rent?
Okay, my rent is $300, but as of February the 9th, it'll go up to $350.
Let us say just $300. And if you were 10 days late, she would charge. Wait, listen to Uncle Bernard.
Okay.
The old professor is going to work. If you were 10 days late, she would charge you $50.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, of course, if she took you to small claims court or court to try to collect the $50, I would say she wouldn't. Because that would be, because the late fee that she is charging you is unreasonable.
Right.
But on the other hand, she would say to you, get out of my apartment.
Right.
So you'd win the battle and lose the war.
That's true, too. But, okay, this is what I was saying. Now, she wants us to pay $5 a day for extra charge. If anything gets broke in the house while we're living in there, she wants us to fix it.
Well, she can want a lot, and she also can want you to behave, but that doesn't mean you have to behave.
Okay, well, so far, I've lived in the house at least 3 years. Right. And since I've been there, I have put a lot of things in the house. I painted it. She never gives me any rent. She never gave me any paint for the house to paint. I just took it out of my
All right, you're a good tenant.
Yeah,
but the
because
answer
I like nice things, and I want the house to look nice.
And therefore, you've done it. Do you want her to reimburse you? Is that what you're asking?
No, I don't want her to reimburse me. I just like for her to be a little nicer to me, that's all.
But she is not a nice person to start with.
She's not a nice person.
So what can you do?
Well, the only thing I can say, only thing I wanted to know was what right did I have pertaining to the $5 a month?
And the answer is $5 a day.
Yeah, $5 a day.
I'm telling you, it's unreasonable. It's excessive. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. Let me remind you that a precocious child can be very annoying, but there's one group that's a lot more annoying than a precocious child, and that is the parents of a precocious child. Welcome to the program that brings you answers based upon fact and knowledge, and also based on the wisdom that comes from many, many years of life experience. And there's nothing to match that kind of wisdom. Welcome, friend. You're listening to Bernard Meltzer.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you for several months now, but haven't had the courage to call you. And every now and
It doesn't take much courage. I don't bite.
Okay. Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't insult.
Okay. My little problem is this.
What's that?
I am legally blind right now.
Right.
Okay. I was declared, well, first of all, I used to work for a large bank in New England.
Right.
One of the largest. Okay. And it was a huge savings and loan association.
Right.
Okay. And I became legally blind.
Yeah.
Several things happened. All right. 3 people died on me within 6 months. My wife decided she didn't want to go be married, and she moved back to her father and things of this nature.
Right.
And it was hard for me to take. So I became a little distressed, and I went into a mental depression and stuff, and I went into a mental institution for
I don't
depression.
blame you.
Okay. That's only a few. There was 11 things that happened over a course of 10 months, and I just couldn't handle it.
And what would you like to ask me?
Now, that's just a little background. So what I did, all right, the place where I stay in told me to file for disability on Social Security,
Right.
which I get for my wife and 6 children.
Right.
And, we're divorced, and we all get our checks.
Right.
Now, I didn't realize that I could file for disability on my bank disability. Okay? They're a national organization in New York, okay, that covers all SNLs, okay?
Okay.
And there's all kinds of provisions in there. I still have life insurance and everything else. But I just realized this last year, all right, and I called them, and they said that I had to have filed within 13-month period in order to be entitled to it.
Right.
Since it was after 13 months, I'm not entitled to nothing
Right.
until later.
People ask Bernard Meltzer, what shall we call you? Here's the answer to that question. I would be honored if you would call me friend. I like that best of all. But if you want to be more formal, you can call me Mr. Bernard Meltzer, Captain Bernard Meltzer, Dr. Bernard Meltzer. All titles have been earned by hard work, discipline, study, and service. Good evening, friend. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yes, sir. My name's Bob, and I'm calling from Texas.
Right, Bob.
And I've got a problem. I want to know what to do.
What's that?
I bought a new car 2 years ago, and I have been able to pay for it up until I lost my job Monday. And my car payment's due, and I called the dealership that I bought it from, and I asked them if I couldn't pay the car payment, could I just bring the car back? And they told me no, and I need to know what to do. And I said, well, can I have some time to find another job, because I'm a cosmetologist and I can find a job anywhere. And they said, well, if it's late, we'll come and get it. And I said, well, I just want to bring it back then. And
well, no, they won't take it back at all. No, they will not. The bank, how is it being financed? Through a bank, a finance company, or what?
Through Ford Motor Credit Company.
So what you better do then, go to Ford, then contact Ford Motor Credit Company. Tell them your situation. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And do it very quickly. And tell them what you propose. In other words, do you think you'll have a job in a month or two?
Oh, yeah, because, I'll probably have a job within the next 2 weeks.
In that case, how far behind are you now?
I'm not.
In that case, don't do anything. In other words, you're not even 1 month behind.
No, sir.
Because if you get a job the next 2 weeks, you can catch up very quickly. See, if you don't pay, in many cases, they let you go 2 months before they repossess the car.
Okay.
But they have the right to repossess it on the most contracts after 1 month.
Okay.
I doubt if they'll do it to you, but they'll probably wait a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay, and on my contract thing, on my payment stub, it said I have until the 31st of each month, and sometimes there's not a 31st, and I've been paying it right on the 15th.
You're doing well. I would say stop getting excited because of the nature of your profession. You can get a job almost any time. And You really will not be in bad trouble until you get about a month and a half behind, I would say.
Okay. Okay, if I do, if I do get so behind, and
if you get so behind, go see the Ford Motor Company Finance Company and talk to them, because I'll tell you one thing. They're very quick all over the country these days to repossess your automobile. And once they do that, you are in trouble. So please pay attention. Our phone number coast to coast is toll free, 1-800-223-4141. That's 1-800-223-4141. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
You're listening to Washington's Station of the Stars. And now, let's return to more interesting discussion. And your host on Talknet from 980 WRC.
Someone you know who will always be there. Tune in, turn on, Talknet. We care.
Hi, I'm Bernard Meltzer, your weekend host here on Talknet, and thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you for the nice things you say about this program. Our subject range all the way from affairs of the pocketbook to affairs that touch the heart. This show is drama. This show is human interest. This show is information. Our phone number coast to coast is toll free. You're welcome to call me. Here it is, 1-800-223-4141. That's 1-800-223-4141. Sit back, relax, enjoy the drama, get smart. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. I start this hour with something from Roy Croft modified. It's called Why Do I Love You? I love you not only for what you are, but rather for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you are making of yourself, but rather what you are making of me. I love you for overlooking the fool in me and instead bringing out the good in me. I love you because you have done for me more than any creed could do to make me an upright man. You have done it without a word, without a touch, without a sign. You have done it just by being yourself. After all, isn't this really what love is all about? So, my dearest, I hope you understand now why I love you so. God bless our love for an eternity, because that's how long my love for you shall endure. Why do I love you? My friend, welcome to Talknet.
Hi.
Hiya.
A few weeks ago, I caught my husband fooling around.
Uh-oh.
And threw him out.
Threw him out?
Uh-huh.
How long have you been married?
About 7 years. Almost 7.
Children?
1.
How old?
Girl, she's 5.
How old?
She's 5.
Okay.
And he called me today, and he asked me whether he could come home.
Right.
And I'm considering it for a few reasons, because number 1, I'm lonesome, and number 2, the bills. And I'm not exactly sure if that's a good reason.
Well, of course, you caught him once. What, did you really catch him, or
Yes.
did you suspect it?
Yes, saw it.
Well, of course, now, without a doubt, you've talked it over with him. Is he willing to come back based upon the fact that he's going to start afresh and not mess around?
Right. Yes, that is the main basis of it. But
really, you want him back, right?
I want him, yeah.
If you were my daughter, I would say yes, take him back, because we're all allowed one mistake in life, or maybe 2 or 3 sometimes.
2 or 3. I think I could deal with that.
Try 1.
Okay.
But I think, in other words, you see, what happens is if you start, let's say you take it for a divorce.
Uh-huh.
You have a young child of 5.
Right.
Are you working outside the home?
No, I'm going to school.
To study what?
Nursing.
How much more have you got to go?
August.
Okay. What does your husband do for a living?
He manages a store.
What does he make? What's the income? Salary?
Pretty good. I'll put it that way.
I have an idea that the fact that since it's the first time it's happened, he slipped, he's sorry, and in other words, he is telling you he's sorry.
Yeah.
Remember this, to forgive is divine.
Yeah.
You hear that phrase?
Yeah.
I vote for forgiveness.
I hope so. I hope it works.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lots of luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet.
Yes, Dr. Meltzer, I need your help.
Yeah, all right.
On this, this disability, Social Security that you try to get. Okay, I'm on the third go-round with it. Now I'm on it where it's a request for hearing.
Right.
All right, what I want to ask you, I'm trying to fill out these papers. On here, it's got, if you wish to appear in person, you check it. If you do not wish to appear, you check. All right, it says if you do not appear, they will make a decision, the law judge, be made on the basis of the evidence in my case. So if I do not appear, do I have, is that okay if I do not appear?
I'll answer you this way. You have the right not to appear, but if you want to get your SSI, I suggest that you do appear.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because it says that it was going to be an informal case,
Not all right. You don't need an attorney. And from the way you're talking, you sound very sincere. I'm sure you'll impress him and get what you want. If you don't appear, my prediction is you won't get it.
And can I appear without attorney, you say?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a very informal hearing. You don't have to spend money on an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
You go there yourself. Okay?
Well, the only reason I wasn't going to appear is because I have Meniere's disease. And then I have a bad left leg,
What kind of disease do you have?
It's Meniere's disease. It's a bursted inner ear. And it makes you dizzy, and you vomit.
Can't you get somebody to drive you down and help you into the hearing room?
Well, that's what my problem is. I'm hoping maybe that I can. I'm going to try. I have been trying so far. Everybody's working, And
Sweetie, I recommend very strongly that you appear. Thanks. There's no sweeter music than to know that the person that you dislike is playing second fiddle. Good evening, my friend. Are you there? Welcome aboard.
Hello, Bernard.
Yeah.
Okay, my husband and I purchased a 3-story brick building in November. Before purchasing the building, we met with our local building inspector to find out just what it would take to make the building operable. We were informed at that time that we would only be able to open the first 2 floors of the building.
Right.
Because the city was opening a new sewage treatment plant.
Right.
And that in March, we would be able to do the 3rd floor and get the 2 extra sewage hookups that we would need to complete the 3rd floor of the building.
I understand.
All right. Since then, we've been calling, and they keep putting us off.
Right.
Now we have been told that it might not be till 1988.
Right. And you're asking me, can you do anything?
Yes. I mean, this was the building inspector.
No. That happens all the time. In fact, the problem you're running into is more common than uncommon. And the fact that they told you that you could hook up, let's say, in 1987.
Yes.
But now they say it can't hook up till 1988. There's no liability on their part. None at all. Hate to give you that answer.
Now, I was told by one of the officials to attend one of the Board of Aldermen meetings.
Right.
And try to plead my case there.
That's right. You go in there, you start out as a lady, and then you holler like mad. But even then, if you don't get it, there's nothing you can do legally.
There's nothing legally.
Yeah. Sorry to give you that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
And now let's get back to the conversation with your host, Bernard Meltzer, on your Station of the Stars, 980 on your AM dial, WRC.
My friend, welcome to the program that not only brings you information, but also human interest and drama. Good evening, friend. You're listening to Bernard Meltzer on Talknet. Hey, good evening.
Okay, good evening, Doctor.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I have a question. My daughter was recently divorced her husband, and the reason for the divorce, I don't know if that's important or not, but it was because he was going with another woman, and she became very nervous and has been under doctor's care, and she sued, got the divorce, but the terms of the and the divorce is final already.
Yeah.
However, the terms are so bad for her. She's used to a high standard of living because he has a very, very good job. But the terms of the divorce proceedings, she just accepted them in the condition that she was in. And I wondered, is there a chance of appealing something like that?
You can always go back in court and reopen the case based upon new information, if that's what you want to do.
On new information.
In other words, you had an attorney, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
What does the attorney say?
Well, the problem is I wasn't available at the hearing or anything. And so we have no way of knowing what it is, and every time I call, I don't get a real response from them. So I'm thinking of a possibility of going to another one.
Well, if the attorney involved doesn't want to give you the proper respect and information, go to another one.
Uh-huh.
But you always have the right to go back in court.
I always have that right.
Yep.
Well, that's all I really wanted to know.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Bye-bye. A thought for this night. Remember, tomorrow's Easter Sunday. Tomorrow is the resurrection. Almighty Father, hear me on this day as I pray. May I be worthy of thy service. Good evening, friend. Welcome to Talknet. I'm Bernard Meltzer.
Dr. Meltzer. I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you.
And I have a question about consumer fraud.
In what way?
Which way?
What happened?
Well, a contractor that I contracted him to do a job, and I told him I'm going to be out the following week. And he came the first day after I was out, and he told my wife the job was done.
Well, let's not be mysterious. What kind of job are you talking about?
Air conditioning for central heat and air.
In other words, central heat and air conditioning.
Right.
Now, you signed a contract with a contractor to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
What price?
$3,200.
So what happened?
It's for a rent house, not for my resident. And he came the Monday. I left town on Sunday, and he knew that. And Monday he came to my wife, and he told her the job was done.
What job was done? The fact that they had installed it already?
That's correct.
And he wanted to get paid?
That's correct.
And what did your wife do?
She just wrote the check.
Okay. And in other words, you're telling me he did no work at all?
He didn't do 5% of the work. All what he did, he took the heating unit out of the house. He put the new heating unit and was not hooked up by no means, not electric.
Well, no, you see, the reason why I asked that question, this is what's very vital here, my radio family. If he did no work and got the check, you've got a criminal charge. If he did some work, then it's a civil charge based upon lousy work. You understand what I'm now saying?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, you tell me he did some work.
That's correct.
Now, what happens? He doesn't want to come back?
Well, it's been 4 weeks, and there's no heat or no air in the house. And I've been contacting them, and they're just been dragging it. They say tomorrow and the next day, and they didn't show up, or a lot of excuses.
I think you've got yourself a lawsuit. He probably doesn't tend to show up.
Possibility?
My suggestion is that you go get yourself an attorney. You also call in a reputable heating and air conditioning contractor. to get an estimate from him of what it will cost to finish the job. And whatever it is, you notify the contractor to that effect through your attorney. And if he doesn't do it, go ahead and do it, and then take him to court.
Okay, my question is, if it's a company, and I know the owner of the company, would I sue the company or the owner?
You sue both.
Both of them.
Right.
Is that, do you think it's a matter of time-consuming type of lawsuit?
Yes, it is. It's also a matter that you'll have to get yourself an expert to show that the job is no good and what it will cost to finish.
Is there anything like a consumer fraud for just...
Well, no, this is a different type of situation. This is if he did nothing, I would send you to consumer fraud. But this, he did work. He can claim that's all he had to do. And probably the contract is so general that it doesn't name specifications and material. Am I correct?
It was specified as material and job completed.
Well, all I can say is the contract is probably general. He'll defend it based upon the fact that he did the work, and you're going to have to show that he did do the work.
I fall into that rut every little bit because most of my friends, they're out working or they've had a family, which I did work. I worked 10 years before I got into this bad a shape. But
what's the nature of your disability?
Multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis.
It's progressing very rapidly, and the doctors we've tried everything.
Yes.
So I'm just waiting until the good Lord takes
And I hope the good Lord does not decide to take you for many, many years.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Now, wait a minute. I'm telling you, wait a minute. No, I'm not. I'm waiting until the good Lord takes me, but I'm waiting until they come up with a cure of this. That's one thing I hang on to.
Right.
And then I'm waiting until unless the good Lord would see to miraculously heal this.
You know, there are some people who have what is called the ability of hands-on therapy.
I've had that too.
Has it worked?
No, it hasn't yet. I've been prayed over many times. I just don't give up.
Well, God bless you, honey.
And then
you're an inspiration.
I'm almost through now. Just a minute. And then you, excuse me. Then you take a day at a time. You don't brood about the past, or you don't worry about tomorrow. You just go day by day, because the God tells us this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And then you yield yourself to God. That's the thing. You just
Thanks, friend. Bye-bye. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
Teledisc is proud to present over 3 hours of the world's best-loved music. The Classical Collection, an exquisite 4-album library of music by the masters: Beethoven, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, Chopin.
But it's true, that ancient Hebrew book of wisdom. And it says, when hungry today, an egg, pardon me, let me start again. It says, when hungry, an egg today is much better than a hen of 3 months. The modern version of that is a bird and a hen is worth many in the bush. Good evening. Welcome, my friend.
Hi, Dr. Meltzer. I really enjoyed that previous caller's...
Oh, she was optimistic.
Yeah, she sure was. And it's interesting. She said not to compare oneself with others, and that's very hard to do at times. I was calling to ask you for some financial direction. I'm 32 years old, a professional, or I'm an RN, I guess that's considered professional.
Of course it is.
And my husband is also a professional.
What does he do?
He's an attorney. And we don't seem to be getting anywhere financially.
Well, let's find out why.
We're not big spenders either.
Your annual salary is what?
$22,500.
His?
In excess of 50. It changes from year to year.
Excess of 50?
Yeah, like I said, it changes from year to year. I'd say 50 would be the minimum.
Okay, so therefore you've got about $80,000 between the two of you.
Yes.
You've got a very heavy tax problem, right?
We really do.
And do you save any money?
Not very much.
Therefore, you're a couple that must undergo what is called forced saving. And when I run into a couple of that, I say there's lots of ways to do it, but one of the ways you start in is that you leave instructions at the bank that every week when you deposit your check, 10% is put away in a savings account, as if you don't have it.
Well, I wonder, should one save when there are debts to be paid at high interest?
Well, yes, one should save even when there are debts to be paid. You should force yourself to save, and that's how you get yourself financially independent. And then, of course, after you have saved, start making investments. Do you own your own home?
Yes, but it's not a very adequate home.
All right, so therefore, why don't you get yourself an adequate home? That's one way to save. Another way to save is get yourself a good insurance policy.
Life insurance?
Yeah. Do you have any life insurance?
Very little.
In that case, get yourself a combination of term insurance and whole life. Term insurance is very cheap for people in your age. At age 32, you can get yourself about $100,000 for about $10 a month.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
That's a 5-year term.
But so you say that when we have, or my husband has credit cards that are like 18-19% interest that he has a great deal of money on, we should even save, even if it is like 6%.
That is right. In fact, if you get in financial trouble, one of the first things the financial consultant does is cut up your credit cards.
Well, we've done that.
You know,
he's
in other words, you think...
I don't have a problem with credit cards. He does.
You know, you think, by the way, you are not a big spender.
No.
You remind me of a lady that I know whose husband makes about $500,000 a year, and they still are broke. And she says to me, I don't understand why we're broke. We're not big spenders.
Well,
so you figure that out.
Well, he was a big spender prior to our marriage, and he's still paying.
You're teaching him. You're taming him down, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, I am.
That's
he's
good.
come around.
Hold his hand. I would say, friend, step number 1 for you is forced saving. Step number 2 is sit down with somebody who'll draw up a budget for you and confine you within limits. And step number 3, if you can't do anything else, sometimes, like for instance in our business, in showbiz, many people make good money, a lot of money they can't save. What they do, they get themselves a money manager. They never see the money. The money goes to the money manager, and he doles out money for living expenses and rent and so on.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night. I hope, by the way, that the positive outlook that this program gives and the goodwill that it generates helps to make this a better day for you and a better night. Good evening. Welcome, friend.
Hello, Dr. Meltzer.
Yes, friend.
I was wondering, I am currently enrolled in a tax-sheltered annuity program through my employer.
Are you a teacher?
No.
The reason why I say that is almost all teachers are enrolled in that. Somehow or other, they become victims very quickly.
I'm finding that out, but I'm not a teacher. And I received a brochure today through my employer.
Right.
And it stated that with the new Tax Reform Act that's just been passed, that as of January 1st, 1987, we will, if we withdraw any of this money that we've contributed to the plan, that we will be, there'll be a 10% additional tax on any withdrawals.
Right.
So what is the difference between that and a regular IRA? Could you tell me that?
Oh, the big difference. See, an IRA, of course, you contribute and you get a tax deduction going in. In your case, you get a tax deduction going in. And the IRA, of course, let's run it down. If you withdraw in the IRA, there is a 10% penalty. and the money you withdraw is added on income. Same thing in yours. By the way, it's very similar. I spoke too fast. Very similar. Are you there, friend?
Yes, I'm listening.
I must answer, it's very similar.
Okay, now, they're both at 59.5, is that correct?
Both 59.5.
So, it just depends on what I want to do. Take out the money from this TSA or roll it over into an IRA, whichever would be...
I'd say roll it over.
Okay, for what reasons?
The money's there. At least you know you've got the money there. You're not paying taxes on it, and you've got time to think what do you want to do with your money.
Okay, so if I plan to withdraw the money out from my account after 1986, but before I retire, would it be wise to withdraw some before the end of 1986 to avoid the additional 10%?
Yep, it would be.
Okay. Okay, well, that should do it then.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. An old Persian proverb, and it said, "Blessed is the person who digs a well from which others not only draw water to quench their thirst, but also becomes aware of the bounty of the Lord and of the goodness of mankind." A wonderful thought. Good evening, friend. Welcome.
Yes, sir. I'm a truck driver, and I had an idea for an invention.
For invention, yeah?
Yes, and I was, there are companies, that market ideas and all.
They advertise.
Yes, sir. I was wondering, do you know anything about those? Are they...
No, they're all kind of companies that market ideas.
Yes,
wait a while. Does this company want money up front?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, I don't think much of them.
Oh, okay.
This is like a real estate company that advertises. They'll sell your property. And you walk in there and they say, look, okay, we'll sell your property. Give us $1,000 up front. And you say, what for? And they say, well, we've got advertising expenses. We have to pay the secretary. We have cars to ride around in. In that case, you say to a real estate company, goodbye. These marketing companies come in all sizes and shape. A good, legitimate marketing company, number one, doesn't accept every idea. These companies accept practically every idea. Number two, a good, legitimate marketing company does not want money from you. They spend the good money because they think the idea has merit and can go.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, so if they want money, I shouldn't deal with them.
I say no.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet. Are you there?
Friend?
Yes.
I am a lady, 80 years old, who sold my home.
Right.
And I'm about to be charged anywhere from $300 to $500
for what?
For a new deed. 27 years ago, I bought this home.
Wait a while. Stop it.
All right. Sorry.
Who wants the $300 to $500?
The lawyer that does the closing for the building and loan where the buyer is borrowing money. They discovered a discrepancy in the deed, and they will have to make a new deed up. 2 lines are omitted. Now, I've paid taxes 27 years. If I could locate the woman that sold me this house, the lawyer said she would be made to pay it. And if she didn't, they'd take her to court.
No, after 27 years, honey, you can't find her.
Why, of course
even
not.
if you did, it makes no sense.
I only saw the woman a half an hour at the closing, I just...
Well, honey, I will say this.
Why would it cost that much to make it?
Because lawyers are expensive.
I know.
In other words, they've got to run a new legal description.
Right.
They probably have to run new items in the deed, and therefore they want money because now they have to spend about 5 or 10 minutes thinking.
Right.
And a lawyer gets paid $500 a minute for thinking.
See, the borrower will not be able to get the money from the building if the deed isn't clear.
Or, on the other hand, the borrower can pay for the deed too because he needs the money and he wants to close.
That's true.
This is a matter of negotiation, honey.
Oh, that's true.
This is a matter of who hollers the loudest.
Well, I felt very badly about it.
Well, therefore, if you said to the lawyer, I will not pay for it, they would get the buyer to pay for it.
Well,
thanks.
He's going to have to pay the closing.
I know that.
So which will be about $500.
Okay. Thank you.
I love your program, and you're so darling.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet. Good evening.
Hey. Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Oh, good. I just wanted to call. I'm down here in Hialeah, Florida, listening to you on WINZ.
How's the weather down there?
Pardon me?
How's the weather down there?
Beautiful. It's great. It's a little cloudy and rainy.
You know,
but
the weather up here in New York,
and sunny.
We're having a problem.
Pardon me?
We're having a big problem in New York.
Is it cold and wet?
No, it's not cold. The trouble is our palm trees are in full bloom.
Is that right?
They should not be. And the coconuts are falling down like mad.
Is that right?
You can't walk along the streets here in Radio City.
Oh, my goodness.
Without getting hitting over the head.
Uh-huh. Well, anyway, I wanted to ask you about, on Talknet here,
yeah.
I'd like to ask you about your opinion
of
the new gold coins the government is putting out.
You mean
now,
the Eagles?
The new gold Eagles and
yeah.
the new silver dollars that...
The Eagles, by the way, are selling at a premium.
Yeah.
A big premium, anywhere from $25 to $100.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why they're selling at a premium is because there's a big demand for them, and the supply is not yet caught up.
Uh-huh.
In about 3 to 6 months, when the supply catches up with demand, the price of the Eagles will drop a little bit more than the price of gold. But right now, it's selling at a big premium. So I wouldn't buy it.
You think yes, you would, or no,
I would
you
not.
wouldn't?
I would not.
Not at the present time.
Unless, by the way, you're lonely and like to have gold, so you put it away each night.
Uh-huh.
You take it out of the drawer, and you rub it, and you hug it, and you go to sleep with it. Some people do that.
Well, I was thinking of getting one of those small-size coins and making putting it in a ring or making a medallion or something like that.
That's an excellent idea.
Uh-huh.
But as an investment, I say the Eagle is not much of an investment.
It won't fly this time.
Not for a while, anyway.
Well, I certainly do enjoy the program, and thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, bye-bye.
A thought to live by. The most important thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. And conversely, the most important thing that a mother can do for her children is to love the father. Good evening, friend.
Hello, Doctor.
Welcome.
How are you?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just dropped my phone. I love your show.
Thank you.
I'm a 23-year-old college student. I'm in my 5th year of school, and I'm not going to get out probably until the spring of '88.
What are you studying?
Broadcast journalism. Now,
Broadcast journalism. Oh,
yes.
Good.
It's very fun. I love it.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm in my 5th year, I'm just not a good student. Never have been. I've always made bad grades. But my emphasis is in creative writing. I'm a very good creative writer, and I write comedy. I write very funny things, or so people tell me.
Have you sold it?
No, I haven't. I really haven't taken any career steps as far as that goes. But my question would be, what are some possibilities for a funny creative writer in broadcasting, TV or radio? And how and where do I start?
No, in TV, they're always looking for writers.
Right. I'm in
Always.
a very blue-collar state. I'm in the middle of the country, and I just don't...
Therefore, you have to come with writers where the creation takes place. Hollywood, or California, or New York.
I was thinking about going to New York and going by a magazine to talk to a publisher that I know.
But get ready. If you come to New York, either come with a lot of money, or get ready to work part-time as a waiter or taxi driver or something else like that.
Really?
Because the chances of making it are slim, even though you may have tremendous talent.
Yeah.
Because New York has the most prettiest waitresses in the world. 99% of them want to be actresses. It has the most handsome waiters in the world. 99.9% want to be actors. and or music or showbiz or something else like it.
Right. Well, people have always told me that I should go into television or radio, and it just sounds so simple. Are there any agencies that take down all the information about you and then tell you what field you'd be best in?
No, not that I know of.
There are none.
In fact, when you get to New York, you're lucky if anybody pays attention to you.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So should I...
And also, before you get to New York, I want you to do one thing.
Yes.
Train yourself very carefully not to eat regularly. You'll need that.
I already do that pretty good.
You do that pretty good. But other than that, the world is wide open. There's a great big demand for successful, talented writers of all character. And TV, Hollywood uses them a lot. You can publishing uses you a lot, and a lot of other things. Thanks, friend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Don't worry is a very good motto. And a companion piece says, don't worry others, which is even a better motto. Good evening, friend. Welcome here to Talknet.
Hi.
Hiya.
I have a problem.
What's your problem?
I have a hard time being a friend.
You have a hard time attracting friends, right?
Oh, being one.
Being one.
Yeah.
Well, of course, if you are a friend, you'll have friends. If you're not a friend, you won't have one. Do you have a lot of friends?
No.
You're a loner?
No.
Why do you have trouble attracting friends?
Well, I have this tendency to say things before I think.
Well, which is not a way to attract friends.
Pardon?
Which is not a way to attract friends.
Tell me about it. I know.
How old are you?
23.
By this time, you should have learned that you get a lot more flies with sugar than with vinegar.
Yeah.
In fact, you need some therapy. You also should, more than therapy, you should get a hold of some books. For example, I had the same problem you had when I was a youngster. I was heavily influenced by reading one book and practicing it. How to Win Friends, How to Make Friends, and How to Influence Friends by Dale Carnegie. The book is still around. There are a lot of books like that. That book turned my life around. Get a hold of them, read them, study them, recite them out loud, and practice them. One of the nicest ways to make friends is to do what you're now afraid to do. For example, if you're in an elevator with somebody that you'd like to meet, walk over them and say, "My, that dress you have on is gorgeous. Blue, the color, it befits you. I'm Mary Jones." That's the way you do it. But right now, I must say, our toll-free number is 1-800-223-4141. You full of human interest, drama, theater. I am Bernard Meltzer, your weekend host here on Talknet. And thank you for letting me come into your home tonight. This is a story from life. 3 men were at work building a house. A stranger passed by and asked, "What are you doing?" The first man replied, "Oh, I'm just laying brick. That's my job." The second man replied, "I spend 8 hours a day here, and 2 more hours when the day will be over, and I'll be glad to get out of here." The third man replied, "I'm helping to build a house, which I hope will become a home for a loving family." A question as I end my story from life. Which of these 3 attitudes best describes your attitude toward life and toward your job? Good evening, friend. Welcome.
Uncle Bernard, I've been waiting to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question.
All right.
I'm 27 years old.
Right.
And I'm interested in getting into the catering business.
Catering business, yeah.
Uh-huh. My husband and I have found a piece of property that has like a homestead and a building that has some very exciting potential. Right now, it's in the rose-colored glasses stage. I mean, you have to look at it and
What is it, a vacant building?
Yes, it is.
How much money they want from you?
Well, for the whole property, it's less than $70,000.
Yeah.
But the place has a seating capacity of about 200 people.
Right.
And I am curious is what type of a loan should I have? I have the potential of either going for a commercial loan, since it is a commercial property, or a regular real estate loan and running it the term of 30 years. I know
No. They won't give you a 30-year loan on a property that has commercial use.
They do, because it isn't currently used.
I'm telling you, the property is vacant. Before you get a loan, you can't get a loan on a vacant piece of real estate in a situation like this.
No, I'm sorry. I think I misled you.
What's that?
The property that has the business potential is vacant. The house is occupied. It's an old church building,
in other words,
and this is a parishioner's home that's next to it.
You see, but again, this is so unusual a piece of real estate. It's known what a non-conforming piece. So before they even consider a loan, you're going to have to tell them what use you put of the property. And of course, if you tell them residential, and then you use it for commercial, they'll call the loan.
Okay.
So in other words, don't try to fool them at this stage of the game.
No, I'm not. My concern is we have talked to a real estate agent, and it's in the general listing book, the home is. And my concerns are it can be purchased now, and it is zoned with the potential of being commercial property.
Right.
It's in a very rural area.
Right.
So they have no problem with that. In fact, they would use that as more of a collateral base for a loan.
Right.
From what we've understood.
Now, your question to me is what?
Well, they have a lower percentage for commercial rates, but as you know, it carries kind of it's a lower interest, but it's a shorter term loan.
What do they want, 5-year?
No, it's like 10.
Right, go ahead.
And my concern is, I think that on a new business like this, it would put so much pressure on starting something out, and it would be heavy bills up front, and when you're starting to renovate this building, there's going to be a considerable amount of overhead involved.
So therefore, if you can get a residential loan on this, why don't you get a 15-year residential loan? That's the best one because the interest rate will be lowest at 15 years. If you take it up to 30, the interest rate will be higher.
Oh, is this a real risky endeavor, or is catering kind of having a hall? Is that high insurance and?
Well, yes, you'll find the risk. Well, I don't know if your endeavor is risky. I don't know where it's being located. However, it doesn't matter. However, you'll find as a general business, restaurants and catering halls carry a very high risk.
Because of personal injury or accident.
Yep, and also the rate of failure of them is very high in the first year. Mm-hmm. Lots of luck, friend.
Thank you very much.
Lots of luck. Thank you. Good evening, my friend. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes, friend.
I'm 29 years old, and have been living with my boyfriend for 4.5 years now.
Right.
We own a house, and both our names are on the, mortgage lease.
Right.
I have 3 children, and I've been really sick. I've had 9 major operations.
You have 3 children, and the boyfriend is the father of the 3 children?
No, I've been divorced.
I see. He's the father of none of them.
Right. And I've been living with him. Me and my children have been living with him for 4.5 years.
And the house is owned by you and him.
Right. And he's, been very perturbed with me lately, and been threatening to kick me out of the house and things like that.
He can't.
Excuse me?
He cannot.
Right.
It's your house.
Right, I understand that, but he's making my life and my children's lives fairly miserable.
Therefore, you get him out.
Well, I can't afford the mortgage. It's about $1,000 a month, and he's been paying it.
Well, well, in that case, you have a money problem.
Right.
What about the father of the 3 children? Is he supporting them?
No, sir. He only pays a small amount every 2 weeks, which really doesn't help support the kids at all.
So your question to me is what? You're trapped, honey.
Kind of, yeah. What my question was, if you had any suggestions. I've been trying to find a good job, where I could possibly work, but the problem of it being is every like 3 to 4 months I end
Honey,
up
it
in the
may
hospital.
very well be you have no job right now.
I have no job. I just
What are you living
got out
on?
of the hospital.
What are you living on?
He's supporting us.
Well, in that case, if you break up with your boyfriend, you probably will have to go on welfare, and that's what it's there for. And once you're on welfare, you're able to get free hospitalization. You're able to get free training for a job, and you get free medical and so on. So it might be that your solution to get out of this rut would be to have him thrown out, or you get out yourself, or sell the property. What's the property worth?
Probably around $130,000.
And what's the mortgage balance?
92.
So therefore, you have equity.
Yes, sir. We would split that.
That's right.
I would
Split it down the
about
middle.
$5,000 apiece.
Sell the property and split it down the middle. But get yourself on welfare.
Okay.
That's where you have to go, because there's no other solution for your problem. Because on welfare, you'll get all the help you'll need. That's part of the welfare. And don't feel too bad about it, because that's what welfare is there for, to help people like you.
Right.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. -800-223-4141. Welcome to the program that helps you cope with life, because as you listen to others trying to cope, your problem becomes less severe and comes a lot clearer. Good evening, friend. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Certainly appreciate you and your program.
Thank you.
I'm trying to help a friend of mine get into a house, and she has secured a uninsured, she won a closed bid auction as an uninsured HUD house.
Now, what's this? She wants to put it up for auction?
No, sir. She got the auction. She bid on it and won the bid.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to provide her with interim financing.
Right.
100% interim financing with a balloon note for 90 days.
Right.
Where she'll get some repairs made, and then FHA will take it over.
Right.
Now, there's a lawyer that's going to set up a lien and deed of trust, and he asked me the other day, getting to the terms of the loan, that somebody had to be listed as trustee. Now, should the lawyer that neither of us has personally met be listed as trustee? Could I be listed as trustee?
Of course you can.
What does trustee mean?
Well, a trustee means that you are in a fiduciary relationship to do what you are instructed to do and what you agree to do based upon certain pieces of paper that have been prepared in connection with a trust.
Okay.
That's all. It's a responsible job, but it's not a difficult job.
Would it be a good idea to list this lawyer or myself, or?
I would say the lawyer is very often lawyers are designated as trustees, and very often anybody can be a trustee. Understand? You have to be over 18 to be a citizen. That's about all. And sound mind. Are you a sound mind?
Yes, sir. Fairly.
You sure of that?
Fairly.
Then you can be a trustee.
I may not be. I don't know. I don't want to lose my money or my friend.
Okay. Then if you're a sound mind, over 18 and American citizen, you could be a trustee.
So even though I'm the lender, I could still be listed.
Yep.
All right. How about that? I sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Let me remind you that common sense is not common at all. In fact, it is rare. It is so rare that we say people who possess common sense are so unusual that we call them geniuses. Good evening, friend. Welcome to Talknet. Are you there? Come aboard.
I'm a 63-year-old lady from South Dakota.
Right.
I got the insurance business in 1979.
Right.
I'd been in business for about 40 years before that, and I switched professions.
What were you before that?
I was a florist. I owned my own flower shop and greenhouse.
Okay, florist, now to insurance.
Right. Now, my question is, I've been pursuing every class I can to keep on getting the most education I can in the field that I am. I'm wondering if at my age it would be feasible to go into the CRU program, which is Charter Life.
Oh, yeah. In other words, that's for life insurance.
Yes, it is.
Is that the field you're in?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. You'll get a wonderful education, It's prestige, and a lady in the 60s who will make it will be good news for other ladies.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I appreciate your help.
And call me when you get the designation.
It'll take a while.
Oh, not too long.
I appreciate
Not for a lady
your
like
program.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello.
Hello, welcome aboard.
Oh, I've been listening to you for about 2 weeks, and I have the nerve to call you.
Well, it doesn't take much nerve because we don't bite, we don't curse, we don't insult, we don't intimidate.
I really admire the information that you've been giving people. I really think that's wonderful.
Okay, what can I do for my friend?
Well, my husband works for a large company,
Yep.
and he got transferred.
He got what?
Transferred?
Transferred, yeah.
3,500 miles away from where I am now.
Oh, my. Go ahead.
And the policy of the company was that they would buy the home. You know,
Right.
through a company.
They would buy the home based upon an appraisal. That's very common.
Right. And so anyway, they're reneging on that
Yeah.
promise. They said they would only buy half of it.
All right.
And where I'm living right now is very depressed.
Where are you living right now?
In North Carolina.
And were they North Carolina is depressed?
Well, the little town
In fact, North Carolina is one of the prosperous states of the Union.
Well, the little town I'm living in is very depressed.
It might be. That's all right. Now, where did they transfer your husband?
He was transferred to the state of Washington.
State of Washington.
Uh-huh. And the company policy is that they had bought our home before we lived in the state of Washington. We moved
Yeah,
here.
but you see, a question. You see, your hubby is in a tough situation.
Right.
Because if he fights and says a condition of my transfer was that you would buy my house,
Yes.
and they say, no, this was not a condition of your transfer, he may yet lose his job.
Well, what happened was, you know what I did?
Yep.
I wrote to the president of the company.
And what happened?
And I told him that, you know, my situation and everything.
And what did the president say?
And the letter was intercepted
By who?
by the vice president.
And what did the vice president say?
The vice president got in contact with my husband's boss and
Yep.
said that he was going to fire him.
That's what I was afraid.
But he didn't know that I wrote the letter.
Who, your husband?
Yes.
They probably don't believe him.
Well, they do because he was there and I was here when I wrote the letter.
Okay. And,
And so they told my husband to tell me not to write any more letters.
well, I think that's good advice.
But the thing is, how can they? I thought that mail was personal. It was personal on the letter.
Well, no, you wrote to the vice president, didn't
No,
you?
I wrote to the president, and it was intercepted by the vice president.
Well, very often, mail that is addressed to the president is not read by the president. If you wrote a letter to President Reagan, it would not be read by him.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, that's nothing. When an assistant opens the mail and answers it, that's very common.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I was very, very.
Suppose you wrote me a letter, a bad letter.
Uh-huh.
One of my assistants would open it and answer it.
Well, what if I put personal on it?
It doesn't matter.
How about if I sent it registered?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The only time it would not be opened is if it was a personal situation that my assistant knew it was really personal.
Well, okay, answer me this then. When he was hired by the company, this was one of the things that they said that if he was transferred, they would relocate.
How long ago was he hired, sweetheart?
7 years ago.
Well, the policy changes in 7 years.
Yes, but the policy hasn't changed. It's still...
Honey, you are going to get your husband fired.
You think I am?
Yep, I think you back off. Please back off.
Okay.
And once you get fired, your hubby's going to be in Washington, the state of Washington. You're going to be in the state of North Carolina, and you'll never get together again.
Well, I don't want that to happen.
Okay, be nice.
Well, I just want to be with him, you know.
Okay.
And that's all I want. I don't want him to be fired or anything.
Thank you, friend.
Well, thank you for listening
Bye-bye.
to me.
My radio family, I wish you would think of me as Brother Bernard, Cousin Bernard, Uncle Bernard, that's a good one, or maybe even his dad. But no matter what image you have of Bernard Meltzer, the one I like best of all is as a trusted family member. And you can call Bernard Meltzer, toll-free, 1-800-223-4141. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
This is Brenda from Maryland.
Hi, Brenda.
I really have a problem, and it's not real estate or anything. Is
What
that
is
all
it?
right? I'm a new listener.
In other words, you have a problem with yourself, is that right?
No, I have a problem with my mother-in-law.
Well, that's a problem with yourself, too. What's the problem with your mother-in-law?
Okay, she lives with me.
Right,
She's 76 years old,
right.
and she's a stoned alcoholic.
Uh-huh.
And the holidays are coming up, and I have been invited to my father's home, and she's not invited.
Which home you been invited?
My father's.
Your daughter,
My mother died,
and she's not invited, right?
No. And she...
Does she know it?
Oh, yes.
Is she angry?
Because she... the last time she was out there, she got drunk and fell down and really caused a scene.
All right. What does your husband feel about this?
Well, he's very embarrassed about it.
Why doesn't your daddy want to invite your mother-in-law?
Because that was the first and last time that she will ever come to his home.
Why?
My father, you mean?
No, why is your mother-in-law being excluded from your father's home?
Because she insulted him, and he's that type person.
Yeah, but you see, this is...
Wait a minute now, let me finish.
Yeah.
She also has another son, and he will not... His wife and my husband's son.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, my husband's brother.
Yeah.
Won't allow her there either.
Okay.
I mean, she is carried on there too. I mean, the woman is
So therefore,
76 years old.
What do you want to do with the woman? You want to eliminate
I feel
her?
very guilty now. I feel like she's 76.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
This might be the last year.
Well, honey, it might be the last year. You're right. And I'll tell you one other thing. I think your daddy's doing the wrong thing.
I don't. Oh,
Well-
no. Wait a minute. The woman gets very loud, boisterous, use foul language, falls all over the place.
My good friend, she is 76 years of age. She doesn't have long to live. She doesn't have much happiness in life. This is a happy holiday. So you put up for a couple of hours with her. That's
well,
what
she
families...
hasn't been invited to either Thanksgiving nor...
And with that, the Lord's blessing, you'll be able to function normally, I hope.
I hope so, too.
But the fact that you tell me you cannot accept it is very normal after 1 week.
Then...
See, let me tell you a little bit about...
Well, maybe there's a message here for other people. Why don't we appreciate those that we have when we have them? And we always...
You know why?
We're going to have them forever.
You know why?
Why?
Because we're human beings.
Well, I guess we're pretty
That's
rotten
why.
people.
But I'm glad you did talk, because there is a message for everyone out there.
Well, I hope so, Doctor.
My good friend, I hope peace is with you real soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good evening, my friend. I welcome you to Talknet. Are you there? Welcome.
Hello?
Welcome.
My question is, to make it concise, I guess, is can the FHA steal through, because they got a farmer's property in bankruptcy, can they steal from me?
Yeah. What did FHA steal from you?
They, in the barn, was left 3 relays that belonged to me that I lent the farmer on the condition that if he ever got into good financial conditions, he would pay me for them. He never did. He went bankrupt instead. The FHA got the property. They say now that I cannot have my relays.
In other words, but there's always a court. If you feel it's still your property, not the property of the farmer, against whom they foreclosed, you go into court and you'll get it back. But you've got to prove it. So the statement you just made.
Pardon?
The statement you made is based upon oral testimony, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, do you have anything in writing to show what you just told me is true?
The farmer told a representative.
No good.
Showed
No good.
Where they were and that they were my relays.
I would say probably no good. But if you want to use that as basis for going into court, it might prevail. But you've got to go into court. You can't get it by hollering they stole your property. As far as they're concerned, it was the farmer's property, not yours. But you have to show a court that it was not the farmer's property, it was yours.
What do I need to do to show them that
you need a good attorney, and you need a good jury. Thank you. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
100-223-4141.
My friend, welcome to the program that answers questions both head and heart. Good evening. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. Our toll-free number coast to coast, you can call me right now, is 1-800-223-4141. Good evening. You're welcome.
Dr. Meltzer.
Yes, friend.
Listen, I had my kitchen remodeled.
Right.
And I had the old kitchen cabinet sink and all were real good shape. And I put an ad, trying to sell them. So finally, after a couple of months, I had someone come over and they were interested. And the gentleman said, well, I'll be over next Sunday or something and buy them.
Right.
All right, so he came over. And it was a Sunday, and he gave me a check. And I figured it'd be all right. It had his name, his and his wife's name on there, the address and all. Only thing was, the next day was a holiday, and the banks were closed. Well, anyhow,
and you're trying to tell me the check was bad?
Yeah, the check was bad. I sent it to...
How much was it? How much was the check for?
$325.
Did you contact the man?
Pardon me?
Did you contact the man who gave you the check?
See what I did. My bank sent it up to his bank a couple of times, back and forth, and I waited 3-4 weeks, and finally, I called his house, and he's never home conveniently,
So what else did you do? What else did you do?
What's that?
What else did you do?
Well, I went to the magistrate in my district,
and what did the magistrate do?
All right, so he set up a hearing for him to appear,
Right.
Well, the hearing time came, he never showed up, so then it was a matter of a constable getting
All right,
home.
now let's stop it there. He never showed up. What did the magistrate do?
Well, he had to send a constable after a gentleman, right?
Okay.
All right. Well, just so happens I live in Baldwin, Whitehall section.
No. Don't tell me where you live, my good friend.
Well, anyhow, this guy...
What did the constable do?
Well, see...
My radio family, what happened here, this gentleman is starting to identify where he was. The next thing we're going to do is trace it down to somebody who gave a bad check. And that, of course, sets up a possible slander situation, of course, which we don't want to participate in. So if you talk to Bernard Meltzer, please do not identify. Please. I call this a mealtime prayer. Short but powerful. Oh Lord, give me good digestion, but even more important, give me something to digest. Good evening, friend. You are on Talknet.
Yes, good evening, Bernard.
Welcome.
This summer we had a $1,200 water softening unit installed in our home.
Right.
The man came to our place and gave us all different sorts of tests. One thing we had asked him about was that what was the sodium content that we would consume in this unit, and he kind of was very evasive about that question, but he said it was very minute. After the water softener was installed, he became more concerned about it because my wife and I both developed high blood pressure, so my wife got in touch with him about, would you please send us literature or some sort of a informational guide as to the sodium content that we are consuming through this water softener that is run by salt. No answer whatsoever, and later, about a week or two, maybe a month, he sent us some literature which had no bearing on sodium content. He didn't come to the house for tests. So what we did is that we took samples in a sterilized water bottles that this outfit wanted us to put the water in, one directly from the tap coming through the water softener.
And what did it show?
And it showed that the sodium content was 5 times more normal than we should be consuming.
Okay.
So we went to our family doctor, and he has given us a written report that we shouldn't be, with our high blood pressure, we would be consuming this particular high level of sodium whatsoever.
And your question to me is
my
what?
My question is that I'm going to sit down and write this gentleman that sold us the water softening unit exactly what the problem is, and I want it removed from my home.
You want your money back, don't you?
And I want my money back.
You may have trouble getting it, but you can try.
Yeah.
The question is, you proceeded based upon the fact that you had some knowledge that you wanted it installed. If what you're going to have to prove is the fact that he hid from you the fact that the sodium content of the water that comes out of this water softener is excessive. And that's a very, very hard thing to find, especially after you've used it for a year. But on the other hand,
we haven't used it for a year. It was put in this summer.
Okay, so therefore, on the other hand, I will say, in the year 1986, try, you might win. If you tried this 20 years ago, you would not.
Yeah.
So I would say try it based upon the fact that a very vital fact was withheld from you.
Right.
And based upon that vital fact, you no longer can use the item. And if you had known, you would never have installed it.
Right.
Thanks.
Because it's an endangerment to my wife and I's health.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. Good evening. Hello?
Good evening, Dr. Meltzer.
Hello, you're listening to Bernard Meltzer. Thank you very much. Yes, what can I do for you?
Yes, tonight, my problem is I put an offer in on a house that was $49,000.
Right.
They accepted it for $43,000, but because of my credit, I could not get a loan for it. So I went with another mortgage company, and I went 20% down, and they did not check my credit. Now my problem is I need $10,800 to close, and I only have $7,400, so I'm short.
Right.
$3,400.
Right.
That's my problem.
You have a rich wife?
No, I'm not married.
Not really. Do you have a rich son?
Nope, I'm only 24.
You're only 24.
Single.
Can you borrow from your parents?
No, they don't have the money. I've checked people in my family, and I can't get the money from my family.
I don't think you can borrow it. Are you working?
Yes, I am.
What's your income?
About $28,000 a year.
Well, you might go to a mortgage company and try to get a second mortgage at a very high rate.
Excuse me?
You might try to get a second mortgage.
But we haven't closed on the house.
I say you would try to get a second mortgage which will help you close on a home.
Okay, how do I do that?
Go to a mortgage company.
Okay.
Or go to a bank.
Okay, is there any other ways?
Yes, you might steal some money from a bank. How about that?
No, I don't like that idea.
You don't like that idea?
I'll try your first idea.
I know no other way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, friend. Bye-bye. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet. How are you there?
Hello, Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor, I'm calling in reference to a will. My father-in-law passed away back in September, the 13th to be exact.
Yeah.
And I've got a brother-in-law who's holding the will. Why he's got it, I don't have any idea, but there's no lawyer involved. Okay, my wife has got two brothers. One is the executor of the estate, but he's not the one that has the will.
The executor of the estate should be in possession of the will.
Okay, he should have the will.
Right.
Okay, my wife is a very timid person, and she just won't approach these two boys.
Well, it's not your wife that's got to do it. It's the executor's got to do it.
Right. I mean, she won't even go to her brothers and even try to bring this thing and bring it up.
Right.
Okay, that's the reason I got involved. All right. She'll call the executor, and he'll say, well, I don't have the will. The other brother has the will.
Therefore, the executor is in a fiduciary responsibility. He must take possession of the will. And if they will not give him the will, he goes into court and gets it away from the brother. The brother has no right to keep the will.
Right. All right. How long is there any length of time they can drag this thing out, or is there any?
Well, if it gets into a lawsuit, it'll be dragged out for years.
No, I mean just to get the will out.
Well, that's what I mean. If the brother doesn't want to deliver the will to the other brother, and has a good reason for it, it'll take years to get it straightened out.
Well, he claims right now because of health problems that he just can't get to it.
Well, that's not a very good reason.
No, I didn't think so.
So I would say, and if the executor doesn't want to do it, then the executor should be removed as the executor. And that's where your wife comes in.
Right.
She would go into court and say the executor has not taken possession of the will and we don't know what's in it. And the court, of course, would find out from him why, and if he said I didn't care, they would remove him.
Okay, then my move is to get a lawyer?
Yep.
Go to a lawyer and talk to them.
Thank you.
Okay, doctor, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. You know, the good Lord is truly wise in what he does. For example, he gives parents 12 years so that they can develop a love for their children before he turns them into teenagers. Good evening. You are on Talknet. I am Bernard Meltzer.
Hello?
Welcome.
Dr. Meltzer?
Yes?
Yes, I'm retiring, Dr. Meltzer, in February, and I had planned to take my retirement money and put it over in the IRA.
Right.
Okay, so I wouldn't have to pay the tax and so on. And so I hear on the news today that starting in 87, they're going to do away with this. Is this true? Or?
No. They're not going to do away with the IRA. They are going to limit the ability to save money in the IRA by people with big incomes.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the answer is not true. It's going to be limited, but not done away with.
So I could take my retirement.
How much does it amount to?
Around $70,000.
Well, I think you still can roll it over into an IRA within 60 days and escape taxes. That's my guess.
In 60 days.
Right.
And who could I talk to, to find out for sure?
Talk to your banker.
Talk to the banker.
Right.
Okay. I am home sick, and I was worried about it since I've seen that on television, and I didn't know.
Well, no, I think you saw the wrong thing or misread what they put on.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye-bye. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet.
Bernard Meltzer on 980 WRC.
4-1. I call this the pessimist creed. One day I sat musing, alone and melancholy, and without a friend, when a voice came out of the gloom. Cheer up, it said. Things could be worse. So I did cheer up. And do you know what happened? Things did get worse. Good evening, friend. Welcome.
Oh, yes, Dr. Meltzer.
Hiya.
I'm in need of some of your advice and counsel.
Thank you.
I have an $85,000 mortgage on my home, and it's financed at 12% interest.
Yeah.
And I'm considering two options.
Yeah.
First of all, to refinance at approximately 9.5% or possibly 9% with additional points.
Right.
Or to pay off the mortgage. And I wondered which of those two options.
All right. Now, what will it cost you to refinance?
Oh, it'll cost me about $4,000.
It'll cost you about $4,000. And, of course, if you can get it down 3%, you'll save yourself about 20. It'll take you about, about a year and 3 months to make it pay, which is good. I say refinance.
You say refinance?
Right.
You think I can get a mortgage, you think I can find another investment that'll pay 9.5%?
Not a safe one, not a liquid one, not a good one. The answer is no.
So you would suggest I refinance?
Right, and let your money stay there. Thanks, friend.
Okay, thank you much.
Bye-bye. Good evening. I say, my wonderful radio family, welcome to Talknet. Yes, my friend.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Meltzer. I have a question to you regarding a purchase I made from a TV dealer recently in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, no, you're identifying again. Please watch it, my friend.
Oh, I didn't identify the name of the shop.
Beg your pardon?
I'm not telling you the name of the shop. I'm telling you the town I'm calling from.
Yep, but all right, but you're getting close. Go ahead.
Okay, this is called an AV system. It's called an audio-video system I purchased from a dealer, and the dealer didn't know much about this detail, so he got somebody from the manufacturer to explain to me the features.
Right.
And I specifically asked a question that I have a piece of unit to be attached to this and able to use it. And the representative, he said, yes, it can be used. So I paid $2,600 for this on a charge card and took it home. It was delivered to me and I could not hook it up. So I called the dealer back and he sent these people back and they tried. They couldn't do it. And he called me back and he said he has to order some other parts to go with this in order to be able to use it.
Right.
So I called the manufacturer, and the manufacturer says that we do not recommend any procedures or any kind of hookups to this system. This system is not designed for that purposes.
The question now you're asking Bernard Meltzer, can you get your money back?
Right. I have taken the system back to the dealer. I told him I waited almost 3 months for your parts to even come in.
Right.
And I've taken it back.
Wait a while. I have a question for you.
Okay.
This party that recommended it to you, who was this party? A friend of the dealer or what? An engineer? What was he?
What do you mean the party who recommended?
The party that you spoke to and said you could do it.
Oh, that was the guy who represented by the distributor.
In other words?
The manufacturer sell it to the distributor and the distributor sell it to the dealer.
And therefore, if you have a case against them, it's not against the dealer. Because the dealer said to you, I don't know. You went to somebody who was supposed to be an expert and said yes. And they have a vested interest in it, so they sold it to you. And your lawsuit, if you want to get your money back, is against the distributor.
Okay, now I have taken the system back to the to the dealer who I purchased from.
Right.
I gave him 1 week time. I told him either you get some kind of a confirmation from the manufacturer telling me that this is okay to do it and they will honor the warranty. If not, credit my credit card account.
Yeah, but you see, you have a problem here. You bought the system voluntarily after you spoke to a distributor who said it could work.
Right.
The dealer did not say it's going to work. He said, I don't know, which was fair. Now,
he said he doesn't know. This is a new system. He'll get the expert to explain to me.
That is right. So therefore, if you have anything against anybody, it's against the distributor and not against the dealer. And that's where you have to go. Thank you, friend. To achieve happiness, it's not so much a matter of doing what you like, because very often we cannot do what we like, but more important is to like what we're doing. I am Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. Friend, welcome to the program that brings you human interest and entertainment, brings you variety, and also brings you drama. Good evening. Welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, my friend.
Yes, I'm interested in finding a big dollar investor to help me invest in a television station. I right now only have about $10,000, and I need roughly $200,000 to put the down payment.
And what's the television station selling for?
Right now, $7.5 million.
And what's the bottom line on it?
What do you mean by that?
In other words, what's the profit on it right now, thrown off last year?
The profit right now is running about $5 million a year.
My good friend, how can you have a television station for sale at $7.5 million when the profit is running $5 million a year?
Well,
because if you've got that station,
I guess
that doesn't exist, my good friend.
Yes, it's a gross revenue of $5 million. The profit is basically money.
How much?
$500,000 a year.
Okay. So your television station for $7.5 million is selling for 15 times profit.
Correct.
Which means that you cannot make an investment return on it at all. You have to have somebody with deep pockets who's prepared to lose money, and you're not in that category.
Right now, the station is being mismanaged.
Are you in television business now?
No, I'm not right now. I'm just graduating from a university in RTV.
Are you sure this is not what we call a project given to you by a professor to get an answer?
No, it's not.
I would say, then of course, keep trying. I hate to tell you.
Where would I look for the investors?
No, this is not a question of looking for investors. It's a question of something, my good friend, way beyond you. Way beyond you. Sorry to tell you that, but you're not ready for that. You're not ready to run a marathon when you can't even walk a mile. Thank you. Good evening. Are you there, friend? Good evening.
Hello.
Bernard Meltzer.
How are you tonight?
Welcome.
I've got a problem with my husband.
Right.
And if he walks in the door, I might have to hang up real quick. And could I call you back later if he does?
Yep.
Okay. Now, he's always making me feel...
No, not so sorry. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Now, he always makes me feel like I am just such an inferior person.
How long have you been married?
For 3 years.
Any children?
2.
Right.
And just...
And what does he accuse you of? Not being knowledgeable about the world?
All that, and just not keeping the house looking good enough, not cooking the meals fast enough.
A husband like that you don't need. Why don't you give it right back to him between the teeth?
Like, what do I say to him?
He's no catch himself, keep in mind. Any husband that talks that way to his wife isn't a very pleasant man.
Yeah, and, well, tonight, just giving you an example of what he's like. His brother was over here helping him put some plastic on the outside of the windows.
Right.
And a friend of his called him here, a friend of his brother's. And he got so mad because, his brother came in and talked to his friend.
Honey, you know what the trouble is? You're scared of your husband.
Yes, I am.
Very scared. That's the problem here. Also, you think very little of yourself.
That's right, too.
That's right. Why don't you try to... Do you do much reading?
Oh, I don't really have much time with my kids.
Well, you've got to make time. How far have you gone to school?
I've graduated high school and I've had a couple of college classes.
How old are you now?
20.
Why don't you go off and take some more college classes?
Well...
And let him stay home about every other night to take care of the kids.
Well, at night I work.
Well, doing what?
I'm a janitor.
On a what?
A janitor.
You work as a janitor?
Yeah.
No wonder your husband steps all over you. You take care of the kids, you don't get out. Then the chance to get out, you go ahead and work. Why don't you go to school at night?
Well, because we really need the money.
Well, if you need the money, then your husband is not such a big shot, is he? Suppose you were to quit the job.
That wouldn't sit too well.
Well, I'm telling you what's happened here. You're scared of your hubby. And you're very, very scared of him.
Yeah.
And as a result, he's overcoming his deficiency by taking it out on you. And you sit there and take it. And he feels good and you feel bad. You've got to Honey, you've got to do something because the way this thing is going, pretty soon it'll be slapping you around. You've got to get out and do something and feel good for yourself and stop trying to worry about him. Do something about yourself.
Well, you mentioned something about reading. Is there any books you'd suggest to overcome something like that?
There are plenty of books that you can start reading to tell you how to get out of this rut. And maybe you might need some one-on-one therapy. But right now, my friend, you are doing nothing, and it's going to get worse. Do you hear that? You want it to get worse? No, of course you don't. Welcome here to Talknet. I am Bernard Meltzer, your weekend host on Talknet, every Saturday and every Sunday. As you know well, our program ranges from affairs of the pocketbook to affairs of the heart, which means it touches over 40 different professions and vocations. We bring you drama by real people, not make-believe. This is why this program helps you to understand people, understand life, and tells you how to gives you a guide on how to cope. Our phone number, toll-free, coast to coast, 1-800-223-4141. Who was wondrous wise, who spent his health gaining wealth until he nearly died. And when his health was gone, a wondrous wise man exerted all his might and all his main to turn himself around. He now spent all his wealth to regain his health, and thus did our man start all over again. A wondrous wise man. Good evening, friend. Welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Oh, okay. Doctor, I have been going around in the same circle for the last 3 years. My husband and I are separated.
Yeah.
And it just seems that I feel so overwhelmed sometimes. Sometimes I think I'm getting out of this rut, and other times I just sink right back in. And I become very overwhelmed.
Talk a little bit about it. Number one, how old are you?
I'm 45.
Children?
7.
7 children.
And 4 are...
Wait a while. I'm asking the question.
Right.
How many living with you right now?
3.
3 is still living with you. The other 4 are out on their own.
No, they're in colleges, and 2 are out working.
All right. Hubby, how old?
45.
What does he do for a living?
He's a professional. He's a principal. High school.
Income?
$45,000.
Are you working?
Just part-time.
Doing what?
I just got a job for Christmas selling jewelry.
Now, are you living together now, or are you separated now?
No, we're separated.
How long have you been separated?
3 years.
And do you get together, or don't you?
Well, he comes over to visit the children.
How often?
3 times a week, about.
Okay, that's pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Do you and him go out socially?
No.
Do you talk to each other?
Yes.
Is it conversation affectionate, or is it just grunts?
It's both.
Have you ever thought of getting together, or do you want to get together?
Well, I told him when he left, I told him to get counseling, and I would join him in counseling.
And what does he say?
But he never has. He just runs and runs around and runs around. And I feel so overwhelmed. I went away this weekend, and people asked me about my family, and I told them, when I told them how many children I had, they looked at me as though I was absolutely insane. I was ready to run out of there and just cry because they looked at me as though I was a freak.
Well, honey.
I just don't fit in anywhere.
Well, you don't fit anywhere because you're not doing anything to fit in. And, of course, after 3 years, either you reconcile or you break up and start life all over again. Because right now where you sit, you are not fish or fowl. So I'm saying you either look upon life as the beginning of your present circumstance as the beginning of a new life, or you say, I want to continue my old life and make a sense. And I'm pretty sure, my good friend, is if you became affectionate to him and talked nice to him and invite him in for a good dinner and 2.
Oh, I do. He eats every Sunday, and he wants me to go down his mother's on holidays, but he wants to do what he wants to do. That's the way it's always been. I've been home with these children, and he
So why don't you go ahead and do what you want to do, too?
What am I supposed to do with these children at home?
Well, let him stay home and take care of the children every so often. As I said to the lady before, you've got to do something to get yourself out of the rut.
Well,
in other words, you no longer want to accept your role as a homemaker. That's all right. But if you're not going to accept your role as a homemaker, do something else. But right now, you're still a homemaker and doing nothing to correct it and resent it. This is the problem with many modern women. They don't like the situation they're in. They resent it. They hate it. And they take it out on their family.
Well,
Why can't you go out and get yourself a full-time job?
But the money isn't there. I needed the education, which I'm going to community college part-time to get an education.
Why don't you do that?
I am.
What are you studying?
Motel management.
Hotel
I've been in
management.
a year, huh?
Okay. Therefore, you're going for a 4-year degree, right?
Well, 2 with an associate's, and then I'm
Anyway, once you do get that degree, where do you go to work?
probably in a hotel.
Where?
Or hospital
What
food
state are you
service.
calling me from?
Huh?
What state are you calling me from?
It's Pennsylvania.
All right. Keep in mind this: in hotel management, 1 year you might be in Philadelphia, the next year be in Toledo. The 3rd year you might be in San Francisco. This is the nature of hotel management. So I would say, why don't you start in and get yourself something where you're employable almost immediately? Why don't you get some secretarial skills and word processing? That's something you can go in for a good job, almost part-time or full-time, almost immediately. And this will get you out of the rut that you're in. It'll get you into the open world, and you may appreciate the role as a homemaker, or you may want to go on to something else. And this is where you must confront your husband. Sweetheart, you must do something. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Thanks. Good evening, my friend. Welcome to Talknet. Are you there?
Yes. I got a question. I've got a problem with my car. My car has been in a repair shop for a while. It started out as an insurance claim, and I needed some additional work done on it. It involved engine an overhaul of the engine.
Right.
The guy had started on the work, but it's been 4 months now.
Why is it dead 4 months?
The guy's just slow about finishing the work.
Have you paid him?
No, I haven't.
Well, how much money do you owe him?
Right now, about $2,000.
Do you have $2,000?
Yes, I do. That's the problem also, in that I have a cashier's check that I'm trying to give the guy, but...
Don't you surrender that? That's a good check.
Okay.
My good friend, you've got to do something. In other words, you're calling me. Your question to me is what?
Is what recourse do I have to regain my losses from the rental
Well, of
car?
course, if your car is half disassembled, you've got to stay with him right now.
Right.
You've got to get after him to finish it. You holler, you do anything you want.
Right. I've done that, and right now the problem is he's just about finished, but he says that he'll only take cash, not a cashier's check.
Well, if he'll only take cash, this is where you've got him over a barrel, believe it or not.
How's that?
And the reason why a cashier's check is equivalent to cash, but he's playing around with IRS. And you can rest assured that if you filed a complaint against him, if he doesn't behave, IRS would come in and probably put him out of business.
Okay.
So I would say, anybody in my radio family that says to you, I only want to get paid in cash, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength when you pay him that way.
Okay.
Thank you, friend.
All right, then.
Bye-bye. That's an easy question to answer. I would be honored if you would call me friend. But if you want to be more formal, you can call me Mr. Bernard Meltzer, Captain Bernard Meltzer, and Dr. Bernard Meltzer. All titles have been earned by hard work, study, and service. Good evening, friend. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome aboard.
Yes, a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.
I'd like to get a bit of career information.
What's that?
Presently, I have a BS degree in biology, and I've been thinking of becoming involved in pharmaceutical or medical sales.
Medical sales.
What is your opinion of this area?
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay. And also, I ran into a bit of resistance in that most of the companies would like for their people to have some prior experience.
Yes, that's natural. On the other hand, if you have talent, if you have ambition, motivation, you'll get the job. You see, very often, by the way, in a situation like this, somebody like you, if they don't want to hire you, they say you've got don't have enough experience. On the other hand, sometimes if they don't want to hire you, they say you have too much experience.
True.
But in your case, what I suggest you do, pick a company, 2 or 3, that you want to work for. Go to the library, research them very carefully. The products they sell, the products they have do well, the products they don't do so well, and what other problems they have. And then make an appointment with the vice president in charge of sales. Get in there and tell them that you will increase their bottom line. You want to help them solve their problems, and you want to work for their company because it's a good company. Tell them why.
Okay.
That's how you go about getting a job in a case like yours.
Okay.
Bye-bye. This comes from my collection of common sense items, and it says, I must plan for tomorrow because I must live in the tomorrow as well as in the present. Many people say, I don't care what happens tomorrow. The unfortunate thing, if you don't care, usually you don't make it. Good evening, friend. You are on Talknet.
Oh, is this Dr. Meltzer?
This is Bernard Meltzer, yes.
Well, my darling friend, I need you.
What's the matter?
I want you to tell me how to make the golden years really golden.
All right, let's find out a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was widowed at 39.
And how old are you now?
I beg your pardon?
How old are you now?
72.
In all the years you've remained unmarried?
That's right, because I was afraid of a stepfather for my little boy.
Yep.
And now I am sick, and I am housebound, and I fight depression, doctor.
Where's that little boy of yours that's now a grown boy? What does he do?
They're grown boys with families.
And he ignores you?
They try to be good to see me. I see them once a week, maybe.
Okay, now as you look around, you say, what did I do?
That's exactly, Doctor.
I lived my life for my little boy, and my little boy now has to live his own life.
Yes.
Where do you stand?
I guess I don't. I sit.
And, of course, now you're completely dependent on your little boy because you are sick.
Yes, because I can't get out at all. I haven't been outside since June.
I don't know how to make the golden years golden because in your case, the golden years are not golden.
No, sir, they're not. But, oh, you are such a good friend. And it is so heartwarming to wait each week for your visit.
Well, thank you, honey. So I don't know what to say, my good friend, except you've got to try to break out of yourself even though you can't break out of the house.
I try.
You've got to try to. I'll tell you what you've got to. I know a lady like you, and here's what she did. She has a little business going now. She's disabled. She's bound to a wheelchair.
Yes.
But what she's done, she's built up what I call a wake-up service. And she's delighted. In other words, she gets up about 6 o'clock in the morning. She has a list of people that she calls at various times saying, get up. It's time to get up. And then, of course, she calls them back about 10 minutes later to make sure they're up.
Oh.
And she makes not too much money, but she has a lot of friends. And then, too, I know one other lady that developed this situation in New York. A group of disabled ladies who couldn't get around, about 10 of them, now have formed a telephone club.
Yes.
They call each other every morning. They call each other every night. They call each other to say, sleep tight. And they talk things about the world and so on. And they make sure that they call each other at least once a day. There are a lot of ways to solve it, but it takes imagination and initiative.
Well, you have given me some very good ideas. I knew you would. I just depend on
Well, I tell you what you do. Why don't you put a little ad in a local newspaper, which is not expensive, saying a wake-up service, a personal wake-up service, and describe what you'll do.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people will take it up, and let's say you only charge them, say, $5 a month.
Oh, that's very nice.
God bless you, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you.
I hope with the God's blessing, your golden years become really golden.
Well, you have helped. Thank you, darling.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye. Are you there, friend?
Good evening, Dr. Meltzer.
Yes.
I want to know if this is a good investment.
What's a good investment?
A mutual fund bought 792 shares for $10,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was in May 1985, and I earned $1,919 by reinvesting, and I reinvested it.
Yeah.
And I just want to know how it come out on this.
Well, apparently you came out all right.
Well, the thing that bothers me...
Yeah, but what about next year? What about the year after that?
I don't know. But the thing
what's happened to the share value? Has it gone up or down in a year?
It's gone down. It bought at $12.63, and it's...
So, my good friend, you're learning one thing. When you invest in mutual funds, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes you make a good return, sometimes you don't, sometimes you lose capital, sometimes you gain capital. In spite of what the salesmen say, it's a risk.
In the long run, though, would it come out okay?
We don't know. Well, I can't...
You see,
the good Lord, I tell you this, the good Lord never has made me privy to the future.
Okay. Well, the question is, I'm paying taxes on the dividends that I'm reinvesting.
That's true, because that's money earned.
Yeah. And I just was wondering if it'd be better just to take the money.
You'll still pay taxes on it. But if you don't want to pay taxes, why don't you invest, instead of a mutual fund that pays taxes, why don't you invest in a mutual fund that's tax-free? There are many mutual funds that are triple tax-free in your state.
Yeah,
what state are you calling from?
So far, Kansas.
And I know there are many mutual funds which are triple tax-free in Kansas.
So far, I only made $680.32 on my original investment.
Well, I still say it's a fair return. Nothing to get excited about, but it's also got you interested in markets. Right, my friend?
Right.
Bye-bye. You know, it's much better at times to keep your mouth shut and maybe give the impression that you're ignorant on a subject than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. That was a favorite of my daddy. Oh, he used to repeat that all the time. Our phone number here, toll-free, is 1-800-223-4141. I'm Bernard Meltzer, and this is Talknet. Friend.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Thank you very much. Well, I talked to you last week, and I want you to know that I took your advice, but the lady that I was just talking to that wanted to know about the golden years, what to do,
right?
I'll tell you something. I may never make it through the golden years because I am only 38 and I am wheelchair bound.
Oh, I remember you.
You sure do. I am wheelchair bound, and another thing, if she's got any imagination and if she can write, try to think of write a story. You know, try to write a...
Yeah, but writing takes some ability. Many people don't have that ability.
I see. Well, I don't know if I'll get very far. I've been turned down, but I just don't...
What are you writing?
Well, I'm trying to send some articles, just little articles.
On what?
To a Christian magazine.
Uh-huh.
Of positive ways of thinking. Well, one, first of all, you have to accept the fact that you've got your handicap. Okay. Secondly, I'm writing an article to try to make from disability to ability.
That's a nice title.
Yes, and first you accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two, you have to be cheerful to those around you, because the more cheerful you are, the more people's going to want to come around you.
Oh, you are so right. Nobody wants to be around a grouch.
No, sir. And then another thing is interest. You've got to be interested in what's going on outside you. Listen to the current events so you'll have something intelligent to talk to people about. And then another thing, you live life